If you clicked on this podcast, thank you for tuning in. You're going to hear me stumble through this. This is completely out of my comfort zone and pretty much one of the reasons why I'm a camera guy. I like to be behind the lens and not in front of it. So this type of stuff freaks the hell out of me, but we're going to roll with it. I'm currently 8 hours into a 15-hour drive to South Carolina to shoot for Lee Livesey, doing a little docu-series for him on YouTube. And I've had this idea jumbling around in my head kind of for the last couple months as I branched out into running my own creative business. I don't even know what the hell to call the industry I'm in right now. So the Camera Guy podcast is really just an outlet for me to express how things are going in my life and really bring on some guests in the creative space that are doing what I'm doing or are doing something that I'd like to be doing, and really creating an environment where we can support each other and create a space where we can share our struggles, some of the cool experiences that we get to have with this type of job, with this type of life, and really just have this as an outlet for people to come together and support each other, because I'm kind of new to this freelancing agency type of world where it's a little scary and it's also super rewarding. I haven't been in it too long, and I've already experienced everything from the super highs of getting stuff out there, people loving it, all that, down to the lows of self-doubt and imposter syndrome, really. So I'm kind of launching this podcast just to do something that isn't perfect. I have a tendency for paralysis by analysis and wanting to plan things out to the nth degree, to where it either doesn't come out at all or it takes forever to come out. So I'm really just using this as an outlet to be free and just to have somewhere where I can hop on, talk to some amazing people in this industry, and see where it goes. My why for this, so that would kind of basically be my why for this. My current situation that I'm on right now, I'm literally recording this on voice memos on my phone, and I got my Apple AirPods shoved in my ears while I'm driving down the I-81 right now. So this is really going to be super bare bones. I don't even know how to do a friggin' interview podcast, how to record a conversation between two people. So we'll see where this goes. So this first episode, I really just want to hop on here. It's probably going to be pretty short because I got to take a piss, and I'm probably going to get off the highway pretty soon to do that. So really just want to start this thing off, fumble my words a bunch, and get it out there. Because if there's one thing I've learned with shooting videos, shooting photos, you got to get stuff out there. You got to fail a bunch, and you really just got to fall flat on your face to then get back up and start slowly learning along the way and start doing things that end up working. So this is that. Not going to be any guest this episode. This is really just me hopping on, sharing a bit about who I am, why I'm doing this, and just kind of sharing my vision around it. So a little bit about who I am. My name is Jesse Renault. I live in North Gore, Ontario. Grew up in really just in the suburbs of Ottawa, Ontario. Grew up in a little suburb called Bridlewood, or Bridlehood, if anyone from around there is listening, you know what that means. It's not the hood at all. It's actually super middle class suburb area, and it was a great place to grow up. Have an amazing family. I have my mom Gilberta Furtado and my dad Robert Renault, and I got my brother Matthew Renault and my sister Sarah Renault. I'm the oldest of the three kids. My brother's 2 years younger than me, and my sister's 7 years younger than me, and that's my family. Have a bunch of aunts and uncles on both sides. Love them to death. And I got my beautiful wife, Lindsay, soon to be, well, I guess Renault now. We haven't done all the paperwork to actually change her name. Um, but we're married. Been married for 2 years now, and um, been together for, since the 11th grade. So probably, oh my God, I don't even know how long that is. That's why I'm in the creative world, because I'm not good at math. But we've been together 10 years or so, and love her to death. She means everything to me. Literally my best friend, and we do everything together. So when I'm home, and we'd rather be chilling on the couch, watching movies, hanging out, than being with almost anyone out there. That's no slight to anyone that we know and love, but we just are the biggest homebodies that you'll ever find, and love our time at home. So that's our life. And we got our amazing dog, Gordy. He's a 4-year-old British yellow lab, and kind of got him trained up to be my little duck dog, which unfortunately we don't get to do a lot of much in the last couple of years, because I've been on the road or out shooting for an outfitter. So I was pretty much gone every weekend last year. Didn't get to hunt too much myself, but yeah, that's our little family. That's a little bit about my background. And I wanted to get into a little bit about my journey on where I'm at right now, and kind of how I got here to where I'm at now. So I just finished up leaving my job back in kind of beginning of January. I was kind of running the marketing side of American Baitworks. Got brought on by my boss a few years ago, and was able to get in at the beginning of American Baitworks. Was literally employee number 2, and was able to kind of tag team the marketing side with my boss, and had an amazing time there. I was there for, I think, just over 5 years. Got to experience basically a startup, running everything from boots on the ground, shooting myself, down to almost running an internal creative agency with hiring shooters, hiring graphic designers, pretty much everything we needed to get done to get products out on the market and market them to the right audience to actually sell products. So that was kind of my world the last 5-6 years, before leaving that and deciding to kind of go out on my own and see what I could do, having my own clients and producing content for them. Before I get a little deeper into that, I wanted to get down to almost rewind a little bit and get back to the beginning. So growing up, I was a hockey kid. That was my identity. That's what I did almost 7 days a week. Had aspirations to go play Division I hockey down in the States. That was my life, kind of all year round, whether it was training in the summer and then playing all year. That was my goal: get a D1 scholarship and go play hockey down in the States. So played hockey since I was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. Grew up, played at a decently high level pretty much all the way through. Didn't end up making AAA team until few years after that kind of came into my area. So ended up playing AAA, and then got an opportunity to go play prep school hockey down at Gilmore Academy just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And that was my hope to kind of take the next step into really branching out and hopefully get seen by some kind of school or a junior A hockey team, and get an opportunity to kind of get to that next level. And so that was my focus growing up. I had zero creative aspirations. I hated art class as a kid, didn't give two shits about it. Never picked up a camera. All I cared about was hitting people, shooting pucks for the blue line, and being a stay-at-home defenseman. That was my world until I was pretty much second year of university. So really had zero creative aspirations. If you were to tell me or ask me this question, if I was going to be where I'm at today when I was 16 years old, I would have laughed at you and had zero interest in it. So I didn't grow up hunting, didn't grow up fishing. So where I'm at now makes zero sense, but this is where I'm at. So finished up playing hockey. Never really went anywhere. Played like a year of junior B, got a cup of tea, playing for a junior A team back home. Literally played one game for not much ice time. Like I kind of fizzled out. My interests in hockey really faded away, and I was trying to find what the hell I wanted to do in life. I took communications in university, hated school, just kind of chugged along through university, trying to get by. Had decent grades and everything, but I really just had no purpose for something that I wanted to do. And then I couldn't even tell you the origin story on how I ended up picking up a camera, but I started getting a little interested in photography and decided to go out and get, I think it was a Canon T4i. I can't remember exactly what the hell it was that prompted me to go out and start shooting or to get that camera, but I did. I think I split the cost of it with my brother because he was starting to get interested into it too. And we bought a camera, kind of took it on hikes, we had a really nice trail behind our house, behind where we lived, and just started shooting. Can't tell you what the hell we shot. I'd be hilarious to go look at some of the first photos that we took, but it was just something cool, something different than that I've never experienced before. So just did it, and kind of progressed and started shooting a little bit more. And then that's kind of around the same time that I started getting interested in bass fishing. It was kind of my first love in the outdoors industry. Most guys, they have that moment that sparked them in being interested in the outdoors, and mine just happened to be kind of later on in life. And I remember it to this day. I was at my buddy Brian Cole's grandparents' cottage, and we were having a bit of a boys' weekend there. I think it was me, him, and I think my brother was there too. And we were just we had no clue what the hell we were doing. I think I went to Canadian Tire the week leading up to it, knowing that I was hopefully going to go fishing on their little lake that the cottage was on. And went into Canadian Tire and literally asked the guys working there. I think there was even a customer that was helping me out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going bass fishing. I need a rod, reel, and some baits to go help me catch fish. So they set me up with some combo. I don't even know what the hell it was. And I think it was a pack of, I want to say, white lizards, something ridiculous, and a couple crankbaits. And that's what I was set up with. And I would think I was, I don't know, would have been 18 or 19. Like I was fresh out of high school, maybe in my first year at university. And I was dead set on trying to start to get interested in bass fishing. Bought that tackle, went out to the cottage. We ended up bobbing around on a little tin boat, literally probably 10, 12 feet long, no motor, no nothing. We just rode around that friggin' lake, not knowing what the hell we were doing. And I remember I was casting around this little crankbait and threw it around a bunch of logs that were at the back of this lake. All these dead logs everywhere. It was ridiculous to throw a crankbait in here, but I did. And I remember it bouncing off a few logs, and a friggin' bass ate the damn thing. And it was probably, I don't even know, 1.5 pound, 2 pound bass. But to me, that was the biggest fish I'd ever caught in my life. And it was a real fish. It was a largemouth bass. And I remember catching that fish. I think I was wearing, I was wearing some like plaid jacket. I remember I remember that because I posted that picture on Instagram, and I think we hashtagged it smallmouth bass, and it was a friggin' largemouth. And I remember someone pointed out to me that it was a largemouth, and that that was kind of my super basic knowledge in fishing at that time. Like I didn't even know the difference between smallmouth and a largemouth. Anyways, after that, I was hooked, as they say. All I wanted to do was become more invested into bass fishing. Really, that started to become my passion, and somewhat my new identity after getting into fishing. Or sorry, that was starting to become my identity after ending kind of my hockey career. So I really just went head first into it. Um, Joined my local bass club, which was the Ottawa Valley South Bass Masters, which was a team tournament trail that had a boater and a non-boater. So I entered as a non-boater, and that really propelled my knowledge in bass fishing. The guys there were amazing guys like Charles Sim, who's a kind of local legend back home. He really kind of helped me out. Fished, I think it was one of my first tournaments that I fished with OVSB. I was on the Lake St. Francis, which is kind of a dammed section of the St. Lawrence River, and we won a friggin' bass tournament there. We had like 22 pounds and change, something like that, and won the damn thing and got paid for it. And I was like, hell yeah, like I get money for going out bass fishing. Like this is awesome. So that, I think I was with them for 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4, and loved it. Like learned so much from the guys. I did all sorts of research leading up to the tournaments back home. That's all I cared about. Bought a bunch of tackle, bought a bunch of rods and reels. Like every year I was just accumulating more and more stuff. All I wanted to do was buy a boat. I remember I didn't have my own vehicle at the time. My parents had a Ford Freestar minivan. I bought a friggin' trailer hitch for it because I thought I was going to get this tin boat and rig it up to be a bass boat and go fish the tournaments. Like I was all gung-ho. Never ended up being able to afford a friggin' boat, so I had this trailer hitch that never got put on the vehicle. So I think I was like $400 or $500 in the hole for that one, but that's a whole other story. So yeah, I was just infatuated with fishing, and then my love for hunting kind of started. I can't even think back. I really need a guest on here to start prompting these questions for me to kind of unlock these memories. But anyways, I started at that same time, after a couple, like 2, 3 years, really just getting heavy into the fishing side of things. Started getting interested in hunting, and mainly waterfowl to start. So duck and goose hunting, kept seeing come up on Instagram, and thought that would be a cool thing to try to get into as well, because really late fall into early winter, you're not really doing much fishing back home where I am because it's freaking cold. So you don't really want to be out there. I mean, I do now, love fishing that much that I'd be out there in cold ass weather and shitty conditions, but really back home, like when that fall hits in early September, mid-September, it's hunting time. Waterfowl season back home, we're really fortunate in my area to have amazing goose hunting, and then later into the season we get incredible duck hunting. So didn't even have a shotgun, didn't have any of the gear, and kind of thought, well, the bass club was such a good way to learn a lot about bass fishing. Why don't I try to find a mentor in the hunting space, to kind of take me under their wing and get into that. So remember contacting Dave Roy with St. Lawrence Outfitters, and I asked him if I could shoot photos for him for his business. Can't remember what I charged him, but that was kind of my first path into the freelance world on the side of my job, where on the weekends I'd go out and shoot these hunts for Dave and get paid for it. It was great. So got into that, and that was kind of really the beginning in the hunting space for me. So that kind of progressed, got obsessed with hunting as well. And now I'm just infatuated with both. So hunting and fishing, love both. Where the creative side got into it and the shooting was on the bass fishing side. So really started getting more interested into the bass fishing, and at the same time really started getting more interested into the creative side of it, being shooting film and shooting photos in the fishing industry. So that's when I ended up contacting, actually not contacting, it was JP DeRose. So he has his own show and also his own production company, and I saw a flyer or Facebook post, I'm pretty sure it was, that he was going to do a talk at Sail Outdoors back home. And I didn't give a shit, sorry JP, about the seminar. All I cared about was meeting him in person and telling him that I want to go shoot for his production company. So I remember I went to the show, or to the seminar. It was just a small seminar at this local Sail Outdoors shop, and all I wanted to do was, like I said, shake his hand and ask him for a job, basically, or for some work. So I went there with my wife, actually, and once the seminar wrapped up, went up to JP, shook his hand, and said thank you for coming out. But I told him, I said, I'm really interested in shooting video for him, and knew that he was going to be starting to shoot the Renegade Bass Tour TV show that he was going to be producing, and said that I really want to be a part of shooting that. And he said, okay, yeah, no problem. Like, we'll see if I can do something for you. And kind of walked away with his contacts. I think I gave him my phone number or something, and walked away with it, with the hopes that he'd give me a call. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, it was kind of getting into the season was coming up, and his shooting schedule for that series was coming up, and he gave me a call and basically gave me a shot. So day one of the Renegade Bass Tour back in, I think it was, I don't even know, 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. JP brought me along, put me in his camera boat that he was rolling around, set me up with a FS5 camera, I'm pretty sure it was, with like a 20 mil wide angle lens. And I was basically safety cam guy for that whole season. So I had, it might have been, yeah, I don't even think it was a zoom lens. Like I'm pretty sure it was a 20 or 24 mil lens. And my sole job that whole year was to run safety cam. So I was the wide angle, and JP would run a telephoto lens for zooms, and he'd be up close on the guys' hook sets, fighting fish, all that. And my sole job was just to stand in the back of the boat and capture teams on the water, and be the safety cam, capture everything. So that was my job on the water. And then as soon as we got off the water, I'd be in the weigh-in trailer, grabbing all the cards from everyone shooting that day and doing media management. So I'd grab all the cards from our big cameras, and then I would grab all the SD cards from all the GoPros that JP would set up on all the boats. So that first year was really my baptism, if you want to call it, into shooting video professionally for somebody. And it was an amazing learning experience. JP was 100% my mentor when it comes to this industry, and I can't imagine, like, the amount that I learned shooting under him was incredible. Whether it be from just technical aspects. If you meet JP, you know he's a super technical guy. So whether it was technical aspects of shooting and how to work cameras and just the philosophy on shooting and the type of shots you need to put a concrete episode together, I learned that all from him. The media management that I'd run as soon as we got off the water, learned that all through JP. File structure, folder structure, how to organize everything by day, by camera. That was all learned by shooting under JP. So can't thank him enough. I even did a ton of shot listing. I think it was one, definitely, maybe even 2 seasons for that show, where all the footage that we would shoot that day, I would dump it all onto a hard drive and then back it up. He would take one copy home, just either start editing. But I would take another copy of that hard drive home and shot list, open every single clip, mark the beginning and end of the clip, chop it up. If there was any talking bits, I would mark the clip I would color code it, and then I would rename the clip for what team it was that was on camera and what they were talking about, or if there was a fish catch or what was going on. So learned a shit ton when it came to shot listing for a production as well. So yeah, the amount I learned through that whole experience was incredible. Outside of that, that's kind of at the same time as I talked about when I was starting to shoot for St. Lawrence Outfitters. Actually met Dave through that Renegade Bass Tour. So really just started to get really good relationships through that series and through shooting for JP. And one of those relationships was Matt Massey, who ended up being my boss there at American Bait Works. We met through me filming for that Renegade Bass TV series, and one of the days that I was on his boat, we got chatting, and he learned that I was interested in this type of world, and he brought me under his wing as well on the marketing side of things, and brought me in doing some work for him with his small marketing agency that he had at the time. And then about a year after that is when American Bait Works started to kick up, and I got the opportunity to come on full time with them. And yeah, the next 5 years was basically dedicated to growing that business and getting the word out about it, doing everything, basically bootstrapping on the marketing side. Like I said, doing everything from doing the shooting and graphic design and everything myself, down to hiring the professionals to come in and do it. And basically, like I was saying before, running that internal creative agency for the business. So the next chapter in that was moving on to kind of where I am now. So I had the opportunity through working for American Bait Works to meet some amazing people and amazing pros in the bass fishing world. And one of those pros was Lee Livesey. And on a trip that I was able to take to his hometown down in Longview, Texas, got to shoot with him for, I think it was like 3 or 4 days, and was shooting a little bio piece on him and his family, kind of who he is as an angler, while getting some product stuff done for the company as well while I was down there. And one of the conversations I had with Lee was why he didn't have a media guy that was following around on tour like some of the other guys were doing on the Bassmaster Elite Series and some of the other professional tours. And he basically told me, like, dude, like, I've tried, gone through a few guys, some guys back there last minute, like it's been a thing. So kind of kept that back in the back of my head while I was still working full time. I was like, all right, there's potential there that I can maybe do something with Lee if things line up. And sure enough, over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years, was able to get some kind of build up a decent client base where I had some retainers set up and some other things fall into place where through talking with Lee and talking numbers and situations with him, I was like, well, shit, if I add Lee to the mix, I might be able to leave my job and do this thing full time. And looked at the numbers, kind of tried to forecast things out for a year and a bit revenue wise and see if I can make this thing work while also paying the friggin' mortgage on a house that Lindsay and I just finished building, and just basically seeing if I can make the numbers work enough on the revenue and business side to kind of keep the bills paid at home and survive. So ran the numbers and it kind of worked. I may have jumped before things were completely set in stone, but I was like, you know what? I can't sit back 30 years from now and regret not going for it. So I was like, all right, I've done as much work as I can to set things in place to really take the leap and do this, like go out on my own, run my own business, be my own boss, and really,
Watch out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
You can hear that I'm still driving. Yeah, to go out on my own, run my own business, be my own boss, and see if I can do this. Always had that somewhat entrepreneurial drive to do something. I've always kept busy with freelance work on the weekends, moonlighting with things like the outdoor lifestyle brand, Homestead Outfitters, that I started up. So I've always had that little knack of wanting to go out and do something, but really the last year and a half kind of pushed that even further to have the belief in myself that I could actually do it. Because I was able to build up a little bit of a portfolio with my photo and video work to kind of have proof of concept that, hey, like this is the stuff I've created. And through the experiences that I've had on the business and marketing side, I kind of have a solid base in both where I don't know everything, but I know enough to potentially go out there and make it work. So as soon as those numbers lined up, that was kind of my
Watch out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
easy ways. That was kind of my trigger to just go for it. Like I said, I don't want to live life with regrets, and this would be one of them if I didn't take this chance and take this opportunity. So that's kind of where I am now. Basically running my own creative content agency, if you want to call it. Like I don't even know what the hell to call this thing. Like I literally drove across the border today and I looked like the biggest idiot crossing the border into the States today, because the border guard asked me what I do for a living and I couldn't get the friggin' words out of my mouth. Like I'm like, I run my own creative marketing agency. I do photo and video. Like I'm so fresh into this that I don't even know how to define my business, because like I'm still figuring it out. So luckily I didn't get stopped at the border and I made it down here. But like I'm just so passionate about this and I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm in the mud right now when it comes to making this work, and I'm really I have enough business sense, I guess, to make sure that my bills are paid and everything, but I'm really just trying to enjoy the ride. And that was kind of part of why I wanted to start this podcast, or whatever this is going to turn out to be. I don't even know. I just hit record while I'm driving here, but that's why I wanted to do this, because there's such a big brotherhood of creatives out there that I've had the opportunity to interact with and be surrounded by, especially over the last few months since February, really being able to shoot for Lee on the Bassmaster Elite Series. Like the amount of shooters that are following around some anglers now is incredible, and these guys that are out here are killers when it comes to the content that they're pushing out, and it's inspiring, and I can't thank these guys enough for being so supportive. Like, I call it a brotherhood because it is. Like, these guys go out of their way to help each other and are so supportive. No one's out here to put each other down, or like it's competitive out here. Like, we always want to be putting out good stuff, but like at the end of the day, we're all out here to support each other and to really just grow this thing, to really forge this path that we're on, and kind of make it the best that we can and support each other while doing it. So yeah, like, my goal with this is really just to bring a lot of these people on that I get the opportunity to meet in the creative space, pick their brain on everything from struggles that they've had, running their own business, being out on their own. So people that listen can learn, but selfishly, so I can learn too. I want to learn. I geek out over camera gear, so we'll probably talk a little bit about that. I geek out over processes when it comes to pre-production, post-production, how to structure project files when editing, how to organize things, media management. Like, I geek out on all those things, and at the same time, I have my way of doing it, but I love hearing about how other people do things. So I'm really just here to learn with this whole deal. Hopefully, I know once I talk to some guys about it that they're hopefully gonna hop on. Who knows? This could be the first episode, and this could die out. Maybe nobody will want to talk to me and spill the beans, but I'm hoping that they do. And yeah, that's really why I'm here. I literally was sitting in the truck 8 hours into this drive, and every time I've hopped in the truck with a drive over an hour, I've had this idea in my head for this Camera Guy podcast, whatever. Like, I'll talk to all these people in the outdoors industry, or even other industries, and really just talk and learn. And like I said, I usually have the whole paralysis by analysis deal where I take so damn long on things that it never gets out because I always want to perfect it. But this, I was like, screw it. I'm 8 hours into this drive. I got my AirPods. I got my phone. Let's just record something and put it out there and see how it goes. So yeah, this is, I guess this is going to wrap it up for episode 1. Like I said, I'm down, 9.5 hours into this drive, into this 15-hour drive now down in South Carolina, and got to take a piss, so I'm probably going to sign off. But this is episode 1 of stumbling on my words for, I don't know, how long are we into this? Almost 40 minutes. So yeah, welcome to episode number 1, failure number 1, and I'm looking forward to episode number 2, and we'll see who we get on this thing. We'll see if anybody wants to talk. All right. Bye.